Thank you, Karen. Give Karen a big round of applause, and Len Walter as well, too. Len Walter's our San Jose area director. He's been helping me run events for over 3 years now. We're stuck like glue, right, Len?
It seems that way.
And Karen's so amazing. You know what's great about Karen is, how many of you seen that sign outside the door there with the big GNA star? Karen had that done by herself. That's her contribution. And that's, what is that? What is she doing? Paying it forward. So give her another big round of applause for that. With that being said, now it's time for our featured speaker. And we have a tradition here at the GNA. And Jennifer, you know what that tradition is, right?
Nope.
Well, you're going to find, you know what that tradition is, Jennifer. Come on now. That tradition is we send our featured speaker all the way to the back. And you know why we do that?
Do a grand entrance.
So that way you can make that grand entrance. You don't have to go, whoa, wow, she's running way back there. You want to keep going way past the exit sign?
Don't lose our speaker.
Yeah, yeah, right about there is good. That way the camera can see you and you can still make that running start in here. So, I'll tell you a brief story on how I met Jennifer. It was a few months ago. We connected on Facebook. I believe it was through some mutual friends. And what I really liked about Jennifer is I got to... Okay, yeah, that's right, that's right. Her, yeah.
No, me, not her.
No, you, right, Francis, okay, I apologize. I thought you said Marie. What I really liked about Jennifer is I got to get to know her. She's a really nice, down-to-earth, outgoing, sweet person. And I remember it was about 4 weeks ago or so before we took that 2-week break, that summer break. How many of you were here when my hearing was clogged? I was a little bit under the weather, and you know what happens when you're under the weather. Sometimes, I don't want to say it, but the mucus goes up your ear canal, right? And then you can't hear, right? So after the meeting, she took time out of her busy day to, advise me on a product that would work to help clear that up. And, we were talking outside for a half an hour. It was one of those, informal type of one-on-ones. And I really felt a great connection with her there. And that's when we had asked her to come and speak. So let me tell you a little bit about what Jennifer's going to be talking to us here today. Jennifer's making her GNA speaking debut, and she is the facilitator and life advocate for the Abundance Game, and she's a connector as well too. And at this week's meeting, Jennifer is going to be talking about the Abundance Game and its lessons. So without further ado, please give a big warm GNA welcome to Jennifer Francia, right? Did I say that right? Huh? Francia. It's fine. F-R-A-N-C-I-A.
That's my name.
Oh, that's what it says on Facebook, so you have to update that.
I'm working on it. I need help with that.
Helps. Please welcome Jennifer!
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So, one question that I want to ask before I share the Abundance Game is, what are all of your goals in being here? Because the Abundance Game addresses multifaceted aspects of business and other revenues of making passive income. So are all of you only working solely on your business for income, or are you guys working on any other aspects for finance to create passive income for yourselves?
Yeah, the latter. I'd like to be active in the latter.
Got it. And how many of you are familiar with the different ways to make money other than business, other than real estate? Cool. Okay, so originally, how much time do I have, Alex?
About 30 minutes or so, 20 or 30 minutes,
Originally, I was going to show the instructional DVD, and it's my friend Brandon that actually created this game, but it's a bit lengthy, so I'm just going to go in and I'm going to refer to the game. Those of you that are done eating, if you don't mind, if you can grab a game sheet, and if you want to pull the board over, I invite you to do that.
How long is the video, actually?
It's been a while since I watched it, I apologize. Like I said, a little bit of background of how I ended up with these games is I'm friends with the original Rich Dad franchisee. So I'm friends with the creator of this, who's Brandon Broadwater, and I met him at the Rich Dad office in, the board. I met him at the Rich Dad office and I got to be friends with him. And I also had the opportunity to get to know Ron Salvador, who is actually the face of Rich Dad in Europe. So, the neat thing, what's different about this game that I find so fascinating is because it talks about the different levels of our mentality when it comes to our financial thermometer. Do all of you have a game sheet so you know what I'm talking about here?
We don't know where it is. Oh, you want game sheet? Oh, what? That's fun.
Until I get an extra.
Do you guys have a rule book?
Rule book.
I cut one out. Okay, I'm just gonna go over this. They're inside. I put everything away because I'm a clean freak. Thank you, Lawrence. So one of the things that I thought was really fascinating about this is on the top line here, right here, it talks about potential energy. And essentially what your potential energy is how your character and your momentum and your way of thinking affect how you operate in your business and your way of life. So it goes up and down according to the game cards. Who you are in reality will show up in the game. As a perfect example, let's say I roll the dice and I get a Natural Man card. And we're to read the game cards out loud. Natural Man, you wake up in the morning and hit snooze button a few times before you were listening to because you were listening to your inner hyena. There's a constant battle we have within ourselves. When we lay in bed and tell ourselves how good it feels to be nice and warm, that is our natural man speaking. The natural man wants ease and comfort. The spiritual man wants to bring out the best person within us. We must choose who we listen to. Listening to the natural man will seem reasonable. However, it leads to pain, spiritual death, and entrapment. The spiritual man does what is right in the face of reasoning and justification. It will draw out the winner within you. If you listen to the natural man, it will bring out the loser within you. Cost. You become a bigger loser every time you hit the snooze button. Knowledge gain. You have a choice to listen to your spirit or your flesh. PE decreased by 3. Now, with the PE, the way that it works is when you have your deals, when your deals are 7 or higher, then you have the most optimal opportunities. For instance, do I have a small deal? This is a small opportunity card. This is actually an interesting one. Intellectual property, creating a dating game that teaches what to do and what not to do. If your PE is 0 to 3, no down payment, no deal. You listen to your inner hyena and decide that investing is too risky. Your ROI is 0 and your cash flow is 0. If your PE is 4 or higher, your down payment is $4,000. Sales are good. You targeted high school students and college students. ROI 150%. Cash flow $500. If your PE are 7 or higher, sales are good because you targeted high school and college students. You also labeled the game educational and asked the teachers to play it in the classes. ROI 210%, cash flow $700. Do you see how your PE affects the way that you operate in your deal? So that's just the one part of just to give you an idea of what your PE is. How many of you guys know how a P&L sheet works?
Oh yeah.
Okay, those of you that are not in finance, how many of you know how a P&L sheet works? That's awesome.
Yep.
That's a really important thing. The thing that I like about this is the flow of this is really simple. You have your assets down here, and then your income flows up this way, and it flows up this way, and then you have your earned income, and then you have your passive income, and then you have your expenses. And then this is what your monthly cash is. And so how many of you guys know your number for your personal reality number of what it takes for you to become financially free?
Oh yeah.
Or how many of you know what it constitutes to become financially free?
Roughly.
Okay, so what it means is your passive income exceeds your monthly expenses. And once you are there, then you actually are financially free. So I've minimized my life expenses, so mine's really minimal. I think I need like $2,500 a month. And so everybody's number is different, but it's really good for you guys to know this when you're operating in your life of what your goal is. So the other thing that I found that was really fun and interesting in this game that you don't find in other games is not only does it have business, it also has real estate. It also has intellectual property. How many of you guys have written a book or written a song or poetry, any of those types of things, an educational DVD, all of those are types of intellectual property that you guys can make money on. Going back to, let me backtrack just a little bit. There's actually a rule in here, for those of you who have the rule book. Rule number 14, if a player's cell phone rings, it's in the rule book, I'm not kidding, or they choose to answer their cell phone or any other electronic device during the game, they will lose 2 PE every time for being distracted. If the player complains about this, they lose 2 additional PE each time they complain and act like a hyena. If you need to take a cell phone call, then do it. Take the consequences and move on. Movers will take necessary phone calls and consequences without any problems or complaining. The game is a learning environment that can change your life, and this rule projects the environment. Calculators are okay to use. So it goes back to when we're having our one-on-ones. If you have to take a phone call, don't make excuses. It's just do what you got to do and then step away from that. How's that sound to you guys so far?
I like this game.
Awesome.
We need to implement it here at the GNA.
That I wanted to point out in the game is when you guys are looking at the circles, you have the circle of the poor, and then you have the middle class, and then you have the rich. And if you look at the center of the game boards, unfortunately, I don't know if you guys can see that, it says the poor, and it's survival equals money. And the mindset of the middle class is your time equals money. How many of you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
We trade our time for money. And then with the rich, it's your system and creativity, which equals the money.
Just call me Vanna.
Lovely.
That's a good one.
Do a little dance, Lawrence.
Do a little dance, Lawrence.
Turn some letters. I'm done.
So in through here, each time when you go from one circle to the other, what it takes to go to the middle class is you have one asset, and that allows you to go to the middle class. The other thing about this is it could be any asset. It could be commodities. It could be a mutual fund. It could be a stock that allows you to move from the poor circle to the middle class circle. When you go to the rich circle, it's when your passive income is greater than your expenses. From there, once your PE is 7 or higher for 2 consecutive terms, then you go into the life of abundance. But there's a catch. You cannot win this game, even if you're in the life of abundance, unless you've served more than 3 people. So you have to pay it forward. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket. It doesn't matter what your net worth is. If you're not paying it forward, then you're not living a life of abundance. You're just rich. Does that make sense?
Can we give you a big round of applause for that? That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And the people that are my mentors, I've been so blessed to have the friends that I do have. They truly do live it. And, the great thing is I've had the opportunity to meet the people that do pay it forward and they do serve. And I've met the people that, they're pretty affluent, but they're so unhappy and I kind of feel sad for them. You know what I mean? How many of you guys have met those people and they're rude and they're sharp tongue, and Danielle's nodding. Yeah, so I've seen both sides of the coin, and I just find that when you have that mentality of serving, you're just much more happier, and you attract more of that to your life, and more opportunities to be a philanthropist and things of that nature that make your heart sing come to you. Whereas when you're kind of smarmy, I guess you can say the word is, it's just money. And that's all that it is. And it's just my net worth is blah, 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 and they have their soapbox. And it's just like, wow, I feel bad for you. Anyway, so one really neat card that I absolutely love, as you guys, I don't know if any of you guys know, but I also work with real estate investors, is they even talk about commodities in here. So this opportunity card is buy gold, convert your currency into a tangible asset. Gold is redeemable for cash at any time during the game. Hedge your savings and any extra cash against inflation. Convert your paper currency into tangible asset will help you ride the waves of inflation. Tangible assets go up with inflation, while paper assets like cash, savings, and stock lose value with inflation. The gold that you buy today are bullion coins. Yes, I love bullion. Sorry. Their value is based on the metal instead of the collector's value. Savers are losers as time goes by because each year their savings are wiped out by regular inflation. Some say cash is king, yet cash is trash during times of inflation. How many of you guys agree with that? So, the deal is buy as much gold as you want. You can exchange it for cash anytime during the game. If you buy, pay the bank and write down your total dollar amount under commodities, which is on the bottom left side of the game sheet. So, again, I have these games. They were a gift to me by Brandon. And they're just sitting. And I just feel like there's just so much that we can learn and we can do authentic one-on-ones and really get to know who the people are through the games and identify what our strengths are with ourselves and what our weaknesses within ourselves and address those and, you know, be authentic when we're doing our one-on-ones. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
So, this weekend is Labor Day weekend, and I actually have, which is rare, there was a retreat that I'm not going to go. This weekend, I'm completely open, and I would love to share the games. I do have a meetup set up, and we're having an abundance game event. I think it was September 20th. Elias, I sent you the link for that. Do you remember the date?
Can't remember the date actually, because you don't have a Facebook event page. It's a meetup.com, right?
Not yet. Not yet. The meetup.com, it's not my meetup. It's just something I volunteered because they actually talk about wealth and abundance. And I was like, well, why not play the abundance game? So, I'm open to suggestions. If any of you guys are willing to play, I mean, I'm happy to share. Do you guys have any questions?
How long does the game take to play?
It's a minimum of 3 hours. It's a time commitment. There's a lot of conversation that happens. All of the games, it literally shows who you are. Like for this one, it says Lessons of the Spirit. Choices feed your inner hyena and lion. You want to know how to live within the confines of man's world, yet still exist in the purity of spirit. You should know that your schooling or anything else will not make a prison or steal your freedom. For freedom is your mind, and so is the prison. It is your choice, just as you choose the... Let me try that again. It is your choice, just as you choose to carry the Spirit with you, to choose to allow the Spirit to be taken from you by the worlds of man. Everything in life is a choice. It is a choice to follow the spirit of the flesh. No one is responsible for you but you. That's by stalking of Apache Indian. And your PE is increased by 3 with the spiritual man cards. Yeah, so it is 3 hours. This game, I've shared it with hundreds and hundreds of people. I've had some people cry. I've had a lot of laughter with this game. It's pretty amazing. There's not another board game out there that's like this, that teaches all-encompassing in one. Any other questions? Yes?
Is it available, for sale? Something that you...
The boards are $300. They are available at higherlives.com, or if you'd like, I can call Brandon and tell him that you guys would like to place an order, and I could see if I could get you a little...
Discount? GNA discount? Is that what you're talking about?
I texted him. I don't know where he is in the world right now. The last time I knew he was in Venezuela.
So do the cards, I assume, come with the board?
Everything that you see here comes with it, and there is an instructional DVD.
And I'm sorry, one more question. How beneficial is it to play it again?
I recommend, the one thing with this game is it doesn't benefit you just to play it once, because the life lessons that you give are repeated, and they come in different forms, so I recommend that you play this several times. And that was my intention of sharing this, is just to create that GNA community in a different way. Anything else? Yes?
So how do we help you in terms of paying it forward? Because your intention is to create a community. So do you want us in turn, like, either sell the boards for you or go to your event?
Sell boards for you.
I don't see. Well, I mean, I could sell the boards, but that's really not my focus. For me, it's just to check who I am, you know, and see what shows up in the game. I mean, on some of my scoreboards, I mean, I've literally had some of my students write questions of what they want to know, and oddly enough, the game will answer it. It's really fascinating. Yes?
I'm not sure, and maybe you can clarify this for me. Is this based on the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book? Is it like the philosophy behind it? Are they similar?
How many of you have played Cash Flow? Originally, Brandon was working with Robert Kiyosaki on the game.
Nice.
And Robert had Cash Flow and Cash Flow 101 and 202. This was supposed to be the sequel of Cash Flow. Because you all know that Robert Kiyosaki, he teaches all of this. And so, because of the spiritual aspect, Robert and Brandon were kind of like, because Robert was like, well, you know, that's way off on another side, and, you know, my students may not accept that very well. So then Brandon and him shook hands and they hugged, and Brandon said, okay, then I'll keep it the way that it is because I want to keep it the way that it is. And so it's been created this way. But on page, right here on page 11, which is an auspicious number, it says down here, it says special thanks to Rich Dad. There is a card that says fortune favors the prepared mind, and it's from Louis Pasteur. And he talks about the inventor of the process of pasteurization, which is used by Robert Kiyosaki in a book called Buffettology. And so it literally says, do you mind if I read it? It says, I have so much heartfelt gratitude to Robert and Kim Kiyosaki for their products in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Woman, and the Cash Flow Game. I'm truly grateful for the massive heart and spirit they have put into Rich Dad to elevate the financial well-being of humanity. And it goes on from there, and it's just, I mean, the relationship that we all have, regardless of where we are, yeah. I mean, we have a pretty good connection, yeah.
Okay, I know. You keep mentioning Brandon.
Yeah.
Who is Brandon?
Brandon is the creator of the Abundance Game. I'm sorry, did I not
I'm not so sure if I heard it or you just mentioned it.
The creator and the owner of Higher Laws is Brandon Broadwater, who I met at the Rich Dad office when I was there 2003, something like that. So, but we've all kept in touch. So
Brandon is just somebody you met, but then anything else he does?
He actually does his own personal development course. It's kind of like T. Harv Eker. He does do teachings on the Higher Laws as events. If we actually end up having enough people, I can ask him to come out. If we have a group of people, but it needs to be worth his time.
Yeah, we'd have to plan that far in advance. You'd have to put that out like a month out to get a good turnout.
Oh, we need to do a little bit more than that because of his calendar. Because like I said,
yeah,
he's in the United States, he's in Venezuela, he's in Canada. I know he's in the UK. But I mean, his company has grown, and I haven't talked to him in about a year. Like I said, I tried to text him, but I don't know where he is, so he didn't answer. So. But, does that give you an overall pretty good picture of how the game works? Cool. Great. Well, thank you all for listening.
Give Jennifer a big round of applause.